So this is the radio remote control. It's called the transmitter. And so basically, in order to get started, first you would rotate the e-stop. It's not a pull-out, it's a rotate e-stop. And then you would put this TX power transmit, and you turn that on. The display would come on. That's an indicator that the machine is operational. And the status light, if the batteries are in good condition, it'll blink at about 1 blink a second. When the batteries start getting low, it'll start going blink, 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 2 successive blinks in a row. And so that's an indicator that the batteries are getting low. You really want to take action at that point, because you may not have a long period of time. It kind of depends on temperature and other things, and so you don't want to take a chance with that. If the battery does go out, you can connect up the umbilical cord, and you don't need the batteries to be working for that. But basically the controls, this is the drive steer control. So to drive forward, you move it forward. To drive reverse, you need to move it in the reverse direction. Steer right, steer left, so you can drive and steer at the same time. When you go back to the neutral position, the rear wheel will center itself. It'll go back into the straight ahead position. So you always know that when you start operation, the rear wheel is in the straight position. So for the other unique feature is this drive speed dial. It basically clips the maximum speed, and so generally the easiest way to drive is to turn the drive speed dial all the way down, and then move the drive joystick in the direction that you want to go, but move it in the full speed direction. Of course, right now with the speed dial all the way down, you'll hear the motor whirl, but it isn't going to go anywhere because it's clipped to 0 speed. So while you're driving, and so what you can do is slowly move this, rotate this until the machine starts to drive. And what you get for that is it doesn't spring back, and it's not dependent on how accurate you can hold this. Like if this was all the way up and you started to move this and you tried to hold it while you were walking, your hand would be moving and it would be jerking. So usually, in most cases, you rotate this full on, and you determine the speed by kind of rotating this. As far as the boom functions, there's boom raise lower, and boom extend retract. And again, those are proportional. The farther you move it, the faster it goes. And then related to that, there's a high-low speed function switch. When this is set to low, then it goes from 0 to half speed. 0 to half speed. So if you need more precise control, you should keep that in low speed, and you get better control. It just isn't going to go as fast. Of course, there's the before any of the controls are active and the machine can move, you have to press this enable button. After you press the button, you have 10 or 12 seconds that you can operate the functions and it'll be active. And then once you have stopped operating the functions, you have 10 or 12 seconds to operate them again. If you wait longer than that, you have to push the enable button again. The vertical path, that's a unique feature that normally the machine is set to normal. Vertical path, when switched to that, the boom raise lower will raise the boom and extend it at the same time, keeping the hook vertical, so it travels in a vertical path, so you can lift something up vertically without, let's see, I want to raise and extend the boom, and doing both of these features, it does those fairly accurately and allows you to lift straight up. Of course, there's the horn, and these functions over here are tip functions for they're related to the attachments. So basically they're an on-off switch, but they're controlled by this speed joystick. So if you were to raise, for example, let's say we had the glass manipulator on it. If you were to raise the head up, you would move that to down, and then you would control the speed proportionally, raise and lower. Then it also works with the winch. Same thing, the winch is raise lower, and you would actuate that and determine the speed with the joystick. For the glass and the robot, that's what the rest of these functions are for. So if you have the glass manipulator on, this is suction. So you push this up, and the air system will begin to suction. You have to do both. You go like that, and you move the speed dial just a little bit, and the suction system will be energized on the glass unit. If you have the robot and you move that up, this will clamp. This will move the jaws together and clamp the object. The opposite direction is release. If you want to release the suction, you would lower it and hit the speed joystick. Same thing with if it's in the robot, you need to open the jaws. You would lower that and hit the speed dial. Over here, again, this is for the glass and the robot. You can spin right, spin left. Again, those are directionally mated but controlled by the speed of the joystick. And then this would be rotate right, rotate left for the glass or the robot. Again, it's directionally mated, and then you determine the speed right here with the joystick. And the side shift, this is specifically for the glass, that the whole glass unit will shift to the side, right and left. So it's directionally mated when you're standing looking forward on the machine, and this also is proportional, determines the speed at how fast you want that to shift. The display, right now the display shows you the 0 means the wheels are straight. If you wanted to, it'll show an arrow in the direction that the wheel is rotated. The second line, it says the reach. Right now the reach is 4 feet 4 inches. So what that means is that whatever attachment you have, that it is positioned such that the load is 4 feet 4 inches in front of the front tire. Currently the load on the attachment or the hook, there isn't any, it's 0. And based on the position of the boom, the capacity in that position is going to be displayed. Of course, when it gets to that maximum load, the machine automatically stops and won't let you lift, and so you have to retract before you can raise the boom anymore. So the battery, this has a uses D-cell batteries, rechargeable. You can put any kind of D-cell in there, alkaline that isn't rechargeable, and but these have rechargeable batteries on it, and depending on your machine, most of them now come with the where it can be recharged on the machine. So it has right on the side of the machine you can plug in and charge directly on the machine. The other side, it would be the umbilical cord, and that is the umbilical cord is stored under the side module cover, and that can be plugged in case you have radio interference for whatever reason. There's a radio station cell right next to where you're operating. Those types of things can sometimes cause some interference, and what happens is you don't get operation. It doesn't do funny things, it doesn't operate on its own, but it won't operate. And so plugging in the umbilical cord, you're not operating over the the radio frequency anymore, and so it avoids that. And like I said, you also don't need if your batteries are dead, it'll operate fine with the umbilical cord also.